Hello, Carl here with Sustainability Theory News. We're over at hobbyfarms.com, and they have an article, 4 Planting Strategies for a Successful CSA. CSA is a community-supported agriculture. It's sort of a subscription-based farm where people will pay a regular fee, monthly, quarterly, yearly, to get a box of food, maybe every week, every couple of weeks, every month. And if you're going to start a CSA, you're going to have very careful crop planning. Of course, their last tip is to grow extra, which is always good, but you gotta plan the contents of the weekly shares. What are people gonna want? You gotta have the majors, the greens, like spinach and lettuce. You have to have some onions, some strawberries, some potatoes. And some of these crops, they're not incredibly profitable if you sell them on their own, like beans and potatoes. They're usually pretty labor intensive and they don't command a very high price. But when you include them with the high price greens like kale and spinach, you can usually get more sales because you're selling overall more products to people. And some people might just want some potatoes or onions that week and they'll use a little bit of greens. Some people really love the greens. Are you going to have flexibility with your CSA, having people or giving people the option to order certain things? That can get very cumbersome. You may need to have some special software that design or sorts the orders and prints out an invoice for each individual order to make packing a bit easier. And you want to spread out some unusual items. Maybe you're doing some more rare greens. Maybe you're doing some mushroom foraging, for example. Spread them out and only give a little bit to each people. And then you have to calculate how much to plant for each crop. So sweet corn, they recommend 4 ears per share. You might only get 2 ears per stock, so you have to plant a lot of different plants of corn. Sweet potatoes and regular potatoes, they want to have about 2 pounds for every basket, and you're going to want to research the varieties you use to find out how much they typically yield. And again, for safety's sake, plant extra. You never know if you have some bad weather or some pests, or maybe you just have a huge inundation with a whole lot of new subscriptions. That would be a good problem to have. For leafy greens, they 3 to 4 plants per person in your CSA. Herbs, they recommend, of course, the majors: basil, cilantro, dill, and parsley. They can grow pretty fast, and people love them, that's for sure. But sage, thyme, rosemary, some of the classics there as well. People will appreciate those. Now, fruiting plants such as tomatoes, they're sort of in a season, but you're going to want to plant several of them. Varieties that fruit earlier, varieties that fruit later, indeterminate, determinate varieties, so they can have a few tomatoes throughout the summer, and maybe even in the spring and into the fall, depending on your season extension or your climate. Well, I'm going to link to this article in the description if you want to read more about it, and if you'd like to see more news headlines like this, subscribe to my channel. Have a great day.